By the time someone says she is seasoned, he is seasoned, as in, you have been through it all. You have gone through the mighty waters. You have gone through the fire. You have gone, and you have been tested and proven. And when someone says that, when she promises, she's going to fulfill. She's a person of her word. Okay, so that is being seasoned. Now, when you talk about family, when you talk about business, when you talk about all those things, and we talk about long-term happiness, the longevity, and I think I mentioned this some time back, but I will re-echo it, that I am no longer pleased and excited by someone doing something just once, like you've done it, and so I'm excited. I'm like, oh, she is the best, or he is so good. No, I'll clap for you, and then I will say, kudos, well done. But that's it. I will not be excited. Do you know what excites me at my age, where I am, my status? What excites me is the longevity. Have you been tested? Have you been proven? Okay, if I wake you up from sleep, can you be able to reproduce the same kind of value that you have produced over time? So what excites me is the longevity. I don't like the promises. No, promise all you want. Throw all the words that you want. Speak all the good, harsh, exciting, enthusiastic words. Throw me a very good proposal. I'll not be excited. I'm excited at the value, and the value that lives long. Okay, so if you get to 10 years and you're still doing the same thing, I'm like, we can have a conversation. Then there's something good here. I cannot miss this. I would want to work with this person. But if you do it for one day, if you do it for 2 days, for 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, I'm like, yeah, he still has a long way to go. So, and so many people, there are so many people who are like me, that have been in the industry, that have been in those, arenas for the longest time. And they're like, no, I'm not excited by wedding bells. No, I'm not excited. Half the time I go for a wedding in a church, nearly I want to put my hands on my head and say, God, I wish these people know what they're getting themselves into. Why? Because it's not the wedding bells that excite me. It's not the engagements that excite me. You can have the biggest rock on your hand, and that will not move me. But stay in that marriage, stay the course of that relationship, 10 years, 15 years, then you have my attention. Then I'm like, how did you do it? Okay, can we have a conversation? I have a lot to learn from you, or we have a lot of notes to exchange. So everything worth having, long-term happiness, is earned. It's not just, gotten. You don't just bump into it. You have to make sure that you earn it. Okay? So let's talk about this crucial thing that I've seen so many people play around with, and that's the avoiding risks. Okay? When you avoid risks, you're literally avoiding life. It's like when you avoid sadness, you're as well avoiding happiness. Because in life, we get both, the lemonade and the lemons. Okay? So when you get the lemons, you make that's what they say, you make the lemonade. But when bad things come, or you start a business and you really have to risk, because then you don't know whether your money is going to come back or not. But again, it's like you're gambling. Most of the things in life, it seems like a gamble, because no one gives you a full map. What we have are the dotted lines. What we have are, people have done this before and it has worked. That is why we have hope as human beings. I saw him sit on that chair and he didn't fall, so I will sit on that chair. So you realize even sitting on the chair is a risk. Even you being in a building is a risk. It could fall. You traveling in a car is a risk. You can crash. You being on a boda or a motorcycle is a risk. But again, if you avoid the risk and say, no, I will not boda, I will stay at my place, okay? So you are avoiding life altogether. You are avoiding the exposure. You are avoiding the people that you could have met, the business partners you could have had. You're avoiding work. You are avoiding earning. You are avoiding growing. You are avoiding everything. So that means that for everything you're going to do in life, it has a certain amount, and I will say the biggest amount of risk. But again, the bigger the risk, the bigger the possibilities of being profitable and of even being enjoyable. And that is why I usually love, people that are used to adrenaline, like they do something, the high risk ventures. You realize the people that trade online, the people that, risk it all and they just give it in there, you even see them sweating. You feel, and people even get addicted to that. You see them sweating. You see them, moving around. You see them, they're unsettled. But they're thinking, if I give it all in. Have you seen people gambling? I'm not saying gambling is good, but you've seen how gamblers act in casinos. How he just decides, he resolves in his mind and he's like, you know what? I'm all in. Where are you headed? Are you coming back? Is that house coming back? Is that money coming back? And they're thinking, you know what? I have done it before. I have done smaller risks. I have increased the amount of risk. I have gone to bigger risks. And I am trading with the sharks. Right now, I'm not just trading with the tilapias and the Nile patches. I am trading with the sharks. I'm deep in, because you either go all in or you don't go at all. And that is the game of life. It's gambling. You either you're all in or you're out. Don't waste anyone's life. Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a business, if you're the kind who is timid all the time, you're on the fence. You're like, let me see where it's going. And I've seen people in relationships like that. They're like, let me see where it's going. I'm not going to give my word. Let me see where it's going. So that if it comes crashing, you are the guys that gloat. And then you're like, I told you so. But I told you so does not help. When someone falls, they have a chance of rising up and bouncing back to a place that is better than that they were before. So you realize that the bigger the risk, the bigger the profit. And I'm not saying that go and risk everything, because we have to do calculated risks. But for the people that I have seen people that do this, I know for sure that for the things that I have done in life, when you ask me, did you have a whole map while you were starting? Did you know where you were headed? Did you even know what you were getting yourself into? I will tell you, no. I will tell you, it started as a thought. It was an idea. When it cropped up in my head, it grew in my head. An idea can grow on you. Like, you think about it, you're peaceless, you're sleepless, and you're like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and implement it. Before you know it, you implement it. I usually tell people of how I started the mentorship, the accelerated mentorship during the COVID period. And while I had no set at home, we were not working. I actually was a new mother, because I gave birth in Feb. Yes, I gave birth in Feb. In March, we were locked down. And so when we were locked down, I resorted to, I turned my bedroom into a studio. I set up, and then I called for people to sign up for a course. And people signed up for a course. So every day we were in class, learning public speaking, learning coaching, learning mentoring, learning all those things. And I graduated 4 cohorts in COVID season. I graduated 4 cohorts. And guess what? I usually tell people that I think I earned most of my money in that place. But while I thought about it, and I thought, maybe it's impossible, so who is going to sign up? Let me tease. And I was teasing. I put up one post and I get what? 20 people signing up in one day. I'm like, wait a minute, is this a joke? And people are paying money. And it's not that I didn't believe in myself, but I was like, you know what? I'm putting myself out there with the risk that no one will actually sign up. Everyone will see a nice post and then they will scroll past it and just go on doing their own things. But again, you put something up, it brings results, and then you're like, okay, so this is a game of risking. So you literally do everything. If you ask me if I knew what I was doing when I was beginning this career, I didn't know what I was doing. But one thing I knew is I had the passion. And one thing I knew is it was my purpose. It was my calling, because it was eating at me and I needed to yield and say yes to that calling. And when I said yes to that calling, everything is history. But again, I have grown this far. And when I say that everything long term has a risk to it, you have to earn it by being resilient, okay? But again, you earn it. You don't just get it. You don't just bump into it. It doesn't fall on your lap. It's not something that you say, you know what, it just happened without me, intending it, or without me thinking. No, you earn it. And earning it means that it comes with a sweat. It comes with pain. It comes with commitment. It comes with determination. It comes with dreaming again. It comes with being audacious. You know, when you have the audacity to do something, and someone is like, where do they get the power? They are really so audacious. And you're like, you know what, just leave me alone. Let me figure this thing out. I will come back and explain later. Because half the time the people that are audacious cannot even explain their ideas. Because when they explain their ideas in raw form, everyone will sit on the fence and laugh. But execute, go ahead. When people see the fruits of what you have done, then they're going to say, wow. You know, that's a huge tree. That's a shed that has been provided. That's a help that we need, okay? And that's what we all long for, because we celebrate winners. We do not celebrate losers, or some of us don't even want to identify with losers. I know most of us don't want to identify with losers, but when someone is winning, then you're like, yeah, that's my guy. Even when you don't know them, you're like, yeah, that's more like it, okay? So there's so many things. Just like I started saying that there's a lot of suffering in the world. But again, there's a lot of overcoming in the world. What are you looking at? Okay? That is what differentiates. If your eyes are glued onto the suffering that is happening, you're going to fold your arms. You're not going to take the first step. You're going to, you know, say it's hard. Maybe those people were born with silver spoons. Maybe those people were born into rich families. When you hear some of our stories, they are rotten, dark stories, where you'd have said, you know what, there's nothing that can come out of that. You remember the story of Jesus? There is nothing that can come from Bethlehem. You know, from what? From a carpenter? There is nothing. But to some of us, we are like the prophets that were never honored in their homes. But again, when they decided and said, it's not the honor that we are looking for, it's the results that we are driving at. And God has been faithful. So get out there. Don't look at the suffering. Look on the other side of the silver lining, that they are overcomers as well. So if people overcame, that means you can as well overcome, and you can cross over from the suffering into the overcoming. It's your decision to make. It's your choice to make, and it's in your power to make it. Coming back.